Peter, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on, and sorry for bad English.
Oh no, that's you write English particularly well, and I know that because of the correspondence that we've had, and also your posts on Facebook and the various social channels that you use are impeccable English. Um,
Thank you, thank you.
how do you say your name?
My name is Peter O. Stecher.
Stecher. Okay.
Yes, more like a sh, like a you know,
Ste-
Stecher,
Stecher.
Stecher. Yeah,
Stecher. Okay, and the O stands for
Otto,
Otto.
a very German name.
I'm sure there's lots of people around that would actually want to know what the O meant, and
It's
that's right.
kind of an old style name. I think nobody calls his son Otto these days.
I think they should,
Maybe, maybe.
and it's nice to know that the O isn't like used in the same way as the Irish use O'Brien or O'Reilly.
Yes, yes. But there's some advantage to it because when you put in Google Peter O. Stecher, I'm close to Peter O'Toole.
Of course, of course.
So my pictures mix up with them with the Peter O'Toole pictures, and so it's not a bad surrounding for for an entertainer.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Um, Peter, I wanted to sort of tell you kind of how I first kind of became aware of you. I'm a relatively new archer, so I've only been shooting about 6, 7 years, something like that now. And I kind of taught myself how to shoot by watching YouTube.
Yeah.
And when you sort of start sort of searching around YouTube, certain things pop up, and you popped up quite a bit, and it was videos of your expeditions to, is it Japan or Korea, China, one of these kind of, you were on a TV show in one of these countries,
China,
in
China.
China.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Um, it's a funny story. Um, in Germany, there was a live show. It was one of these Eurovision shows. You could see even before the EU in every country. The last big live show in German television. It was called Wetten das, which means you bet, something like this. And there were difficult stunts. The viewers offer to this show, and one could uh, light a lighter with a big, a kind of building machine and so on. And in fact, it's the opposite. An agency searches people for them to put them in the television show, and it's like they say, you don't know any stunt you could do on television nobody has done before, or do you have any idea or so. And they called me for Wetten Das, for this German television show, and said if I if I would be able to hit a water drop, a falling water drop. And I said, of course it's possible, but you have to train. This is a very special thing, and it's difficult to make it visible to the television watchers, viewers.
Yes.
If you hit the drop or don't hit the drop, and it had to be a high-speed cam, and I had to hit the drop exactly in the spot where the high-speed cam is okay, and it's very difficult. And then we talked about ping pong balls and some stuff like this. Everything was falling down, and as I found out, you're a kind of Howard Hill guy, so you think a lot about moving targets and hitting plates and something like that. And a falling thing is quite difficult to hit
Yes. Yes.
because it's against your natural move of the bow and the draw arm and so on. And so it's not easy, and you can't train it without a second person because you need somebody who drops the stuff, or you build a complicated machine or something like that. Okay, and so and then the show was cancelled completely. The
Great.
last live show, the last big live show in German television was gone. I don't know why. Uh, the viewers dropped, and once there was an accident, a guy got paralyzed, after doing a stunt in the show, and
Okay.
so the show went down. Okay, and and but the agency had my number and knew I was thinking about stuff like that and so on. And then Chinese television gave them a contract to search for special people for an archery show on television. And so they called me again and they said, yes, with the water drops, and maybe they don't know what they want, but maybe rings or something like that. They don't know, and so on. And then I said, yes, of course, I can do. I heard you.
Yes, it's yeah, impressed the hell out of me as a kind of as a somebody that was trying to get into archery. And I know that you've kind of you have made a part of your kind of archery career as a kind of like a bow showman, haven't you? You have
Yes,
you have
yes,
toured as an archery showman.
yes. But if you want to be, um, uh, let me start this way. I always wanted to put the bow back into entertainment because my big hero is Howard Hill, and 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 I don't know any other person. Of of course, there was something with him and after him and before him, but he made it big. He put the bow, especially the long bow, into entertainment on stage, not for the blade shirt guys, but also for the smoking guys. They watched
Yes,
Howard Hill shooting blades out of the air, the apple from a guy's head. And so I thought that's genius because it promotes archery on the highest level. So the
absolutely.
golf player wants to be an archer and not just a blue collar guy who wants to shoot a whitetail. So in my opinion, that was Hill's big, I don't know,
Because his
value.
appeal. I mean, for those that don't know much about Howard Hill, I mean, he was also known as the Hollywood Archer, wasn't he?
Yes.
He was the guy that taught Errol Flynn how to shoot for the very first Robin Hood film. He appeared in the first Robin Hood film.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was a champion field archer
Yes.
year
And
after year.
and besides all archery, because I studied his career and I have a lot of books and something, and I did a lot of research. I found out as good an archer he was even a better promoter.
Yes,
And when you think about all these legends and stories, what he did, and then you're thinking like a skeptic, like a conspiracy theorist, and say, okay, who was with him when he did this? Okay, the camera guy he paid for the hunting trip.
yes.
Second, he didn't want to make real movies. He made trick movies.
He made all sorts of.
He staged everything,
Yeah,
and yes, and that was a wonderful idea uh, to separate the legend and the man. He
I
was a
think he
great.
understood. I think he understood Hollywood very well in those years, and I think
Yes, yes,
he made a lot of what we would call B movies, and they
and
were kind of shown at the same time as big pictures.
and he pushed for it from his early youth. He wanted to be in a sports career, and he don't wanted really. I, I'm not a hill apostle or saint or something. I see his feature
Yes,
appearance very critically, but he was a guy, a showman, and a businessman, and he made a real American career.
Yes.
From a poor country boy from Alabama to Hollywood to even we know him
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
A lot of people still making money with his name. So he's like kind of Elvis Presley in archery, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And it was interesting that when I was in my early days watching you on YouTube and watching Byron Ferguson as well, who I'm sure you've met and even shot with, I'm sure.
You know, this agency, they also called and wrote an email to Byron Ferguson about the Chinese show if he want to join, because they didn't know what they want. They didn't know if a Chinese archer competes with a foreign archer, or and I planted the idea best would be Byron Ferguson and me would duel us in this television show.
I would pay
And
for that. I would pay for that.
yes, uh, but you know, I know Byron is a much better archer than I am. Of course, I have seen him shooting. To see him shoot in the movies is one thing, but if you see him live shooting about 70 yards at the rope, a gallows rope for a kind of Robin Hood myth busting
Yeah.
show, and he misses the rope 1 centimeter, but no problem in elevation, always in the middle of the rope.
Yes.
He missed 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, third shot, cut the rope but didn't cut through,
Wow.
and so on. And then you see if a guy can reproduce shots at 70 yards with that precision, he always would have hit the heart of a deer at this distance with
Yeah.
every arrow.
Yeah.
And so I saw
You
he's
saw
not
how good he
he's
was.
not just a showman.
No, not like Kevin Costner.
I don't know him. I
Well,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
him.
Kevin Costner in the awful Robin Hood movie where
Yeah,
he
yeah,
shoots he tries to shoot the rope with the guys hanging from Will Scarlet or one of
yeah,
the
yeah,
characters,
yeah,
and it's all very cheesy and not very well done. But you're saying that,
yeah.
Byron Ferguson busted that myth and actually shot the rope.
Yes, yes. They, to be honest, they lowered the distance because it don't counts. You need one picture, an arrow cutting the rope,
Yeah.
and you need it for a cut.
Yes.
Even if he's shooting 70 times or 3 times, it doesn't matter. They need this one picture.
I think that's fair enough because 70 meters is a hell of a long way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know, during filming this show, he went all along the day through different types of arrows, from blunt arrows to broadhead arrows to flu arrows, and field points and two arrows at once. So it was always a different situation for him, and
Yes.
that's great. If an archer can compensate every surrounding and every, yeah, now I take broadheads, okay, bomb, jab, same result. That's a great archer, in my opinion.
Where did it start for you, Peter? How long have you been shooting, and did you come up through other styles? Did you
Yeah,
compete?
yeah.
Tell me about that.
Um, I started around the year 1990. I was interested in bows and arrows before as a child because of the Errol Flynn Robin Hood movie, because in my opinion it's the best movie because it displays the Robin Hood story as a fairy tale like it is, and not, oh, they had different kind of buckles, or some, I don't know, the words are wrong, or they had other hair or other beards, and it's not, it's a it's a fairy tale, and that's the thing. It's the myth of the Robin Hood, which is catched best in this kind of movie, in this particular movie for me.
Is this the Errol Flynn, the early Errol Flynn movie?
Yes, yes, and
So,
also because of the connection to Howard Hill, and you know, there's a book around written by Buster Wiles, who was Errol Flynn's double, his stuntman,
okay,
and he wrote a separate biography about his time with Howard Hill and Errol Flynn when they were fishing and doing crazy stuff, and so it's a great connection to Howard Hill. Flynn belongs to the Hill family, so to say.
so go back to your beginnings.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I saw as a child, as a little boy, this movie. So this like this Robin Hood shot this Errol Flynn. It was great. And but when I was a boy, you could no person you knew no person to ask how a bow works, how you shoot the bow. You watched cowboy and Indian movies and saw them shoot, and uh, it, there was no YouTube, no internet. In German language, there were about 3 books available on target shooting, or how is it called, system shooting, with the fingers under the arrow and so on.
Yeah.
But nothing like traditional. I don't like the term traditional, but traditional archery. And so you couldn't ask. There were no clubs. I think in the 50s and 60s there should be the one archery club in Vienna, maybe in the capital city, but not in on countryside or somewhere. And yes,
Where are you talking to us from today, Peter?
I'm in Lockenhaus. It's in the southeast from Vienna, very close to the Hungarian border. Uh, is in a beautiful place on countryside with an old castle and a wonderful church, and like a village, about 2,000 persons living here.
Oh. So is the Danube near to you, the river?
Yes, yes. So it's about it crosses through Vienna,
Yes.
so it's about 1 hour from. In 1 hour, I reach Vienna and also the Danube.
Um, when you first saw this, this Robin Hood film, and you in 1990 you decided that you wanted to try archery.
Yeah.
Did you get straight into the hill style bows and the hill style kind of shooting or not?
There's one story behind, and so I did, these hazelnut bows, and I couldn't hit anything with it. It was kind of miraculous archery. I thought, okay, it's not true what they show you in the movies that somebody can hit something. It's a myth. It's a Stone Age weapon, and so but I always like to shoot, with air rifles and 22s and also pistols. So I'm a kind of weaponry guy, a martial arts weaponry guy. I can do one thing really good, but I understand every kind of it a little. Uh, so I also like to shoot with firearms, but you couldn't shoot firearms unless you go to a shooting range and you pack your car and your ear protectors and so on. You couldn't go out just in the garden and shoot, because okay, you can do it once a month for 5 shots. Nobody would
Yeah.
do anything, but you can go out and shoot 200 shots every day if you like. And so I thought I need something I can do what is still shooting. And so it was the time when First Blood, Sylvester Stallone, Rambo, the second part with the bow, and everyone went to the gun shops, and they sold bear archery, compound bows, sets with 3 arrows, and
Yeah.
there was a big business boom. So Sylvester Stallone is one of the best testimonies for archery, also in my opinion.
Yeah, if you watch the movie, you can see that his form is quite good. You know,
Yes, it's
he
not so
clearly
bad.
he's
Yes,
clearly an
yes,
archer, isn't he?
yeah, yes, yes. And you also see he has an idea about shooting. You see if one is a shooter or not in his body position. If he's doing this naturally, not staged,
Yes.
and Sylvester Stallone for sure is a guy of that kind.
So your first,
Yes.
your so, t take me to the point where you first started getting into the hill style bows.
Okay. So I started to make it short. Sylvester Stallone, a guy of mine, bought me a used compound bow, a Jennings bow, great bow, and I started shooting with it. But I also liked to shoot with wooden arrows. So there was an. It's closed now since some years. A big company in Germany. It was called Robin Sports, like Robin Hood, and they had a catalog, everything inside, cedar shafting and everything, but all traditional. But I started making wooden arrows for the compound bow because they were cheaper and I can paint them and stuff like that. Yes. So I shoot with this compound, and so another guy bought the recurve bow, and the kind of movement started where people connected. One was from hunting background who had this compound bow. The other guy was a Buddhist-like guy who shot in his garden, but still they all shot bows.
Yeah.
And yes, and I thought, okay, everything is so complicated, and this bow is so heavy, and there you could get the first videotape shooting videos of Fred Bear, Howard Hill, and I saw that fluid style they shot, and they hunted big game, elk and bear, and I don't know, and I thought, oh, well, that's shooting. They
It is,
they
you're
they
absolutely, you're absolutely right. I love the purposeful way that Howard Hill shoots,
I have
and
to say, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I shot the compound without a sight. I shot him like a traditional bow, and I also counted him when I realized that counting, but it was a kind of yes, transmission to
yeah, it was coming
evolution.
coming from you naturally, obviously.
Yes, and because I kind of always was amazed by Japanese ideas and to simplify things, to reduce unuseful stuff from your tackle. And at the same point, I also always liked about Howard Hill because he could argument every single piece of his equipment. He why do you use this broadhead style? And he said, okay, 3-1 because it cut is like that, and I proved it in the field, and I shot thousands of them, and they hit, and they stayed sharp, and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Okay, why do you use this kind of pack weaver? Because in hunting conditions, blah blah. Also, trick shooting for everything I do, this quiver is the best quiver, and there's no best quiver around. And if you use it well, it is the best quiver around. And okay, okay, why are you using this bow, and so on. And for everything, he had a simple and true explanation. Yes, and then I thought, yeah, that the reducement or the reduction of the stuff led, if you think it to the end, to a primitive, to a wooden bow, because
I
you reduce everything, every modern stuff. And sorry,
no, I was going to say my personal kind of experience with being introduced to Howard Hill was it was a combination of seeing you shoot on YouTube uh, and and also watching Byron Ferguson and and then kind of seeing Howard Hill's kind of the small amount of content that you could get of Howard Hill on YouTube as well. And I felt myself kind of gravitating towards this. But at the same time, I met a guy called Rod Harris, who I'm sure do you know
Yes,
Rod?
yes, I know him from Facebook.
Yes. And Rod, it turns out that Rod lived very locally to me. And he was, uh, oh, I've done it again. Hang on. Yeah, it turned out that Rod lived close to me, and Rod is a bowyer, and I went to Rod, and I started
He's a hill guy.
100%, 100,
Yeah.
and we started shooting at the club, and he introduced me to the club, and we started shooting, and I didn't have a hill style bow. I had just like some bear paw thing, and I was just looking around me at all these guys using these amazing hill style bows, mainly made by either Rex Oaks or Rod himself.
Yeah.
And I love the D profile of the bow. I love,
Yes, the look, the elegance,
yes,
the lines. It's a kind of uh, through the simplification of the parts, and the form follows function. There's not one splint of wood too much on the limbs. They are on their limit because then they work perfectly.
yes,
And it's like I always say it's like a Formula One car compared to street car. At the Formula One, everything is reduced, and I also use very hard strings on them. Very low stretch, and when I tweak twang the string, I like it. Ding, there's no vibration, there's no energy left. This dry sound shows you all the energy is put into the arrow with
yes.
fast speed because the limbs are narrow, and that's the thing I like.
So I just wanted to show you the this is the bow that I eventually got Rod to make me.
Looks very good.
And well, you know why it looks good? It's because I was inspired inspired by your bows, and I love the white.
Uh,
I
that's
love the
another thing. I'm kind of, you know, maybe uh, a lot of a lot of guys in archery dislike me. They say I'm arrogant and something like that. But they may be right. But uh, I always wanted to to connect, and there was always the division between traditional archery and target archery, and that's wrong. Shooting is a sport all around the world, uh, which is I don't know, tainted with bad publicity. Shooters are crazy. If you shoot a shotgun, you're crazy. You're shooting a Glock pistol, you're crazy. You're a violent criminal in your mind. And as a crossbow, I don't know, but maybe they're crazy too. Of
yeah,
course, who wants to shoot with a crossbow? A stupid, dangerous guy in society. Okay, and okay with compound bows. It's a weaponizing. Every shooter gets bashed by all media, and so they should stick together. If they so I like to connect this target archery with traditional archery, and in traditional archery you could only have wood veneer and snake skin and fringed jackets and stinky feet and so on, and
pinky feet. Did you say?
yes. and
Did
but
where did
never they would use white fiberglass on a traditional bow. God's sake, that's Olympic style. It's horrible. And so, and at the old pictures of Hill, and so I saw he had white and green and everything, and so I started to use it on my bows, and I talked to Craig Ikin of Howard Hill Archery about if he had white glass enough to promote white glass, and so, and yes, I'm kind of proud you get a bow like this.
No, absolutely, and it's 100% inspired by yourself. Where do you get your bows made? Who makes them?
Um, to be honest, I started with a kind of hill style bow made by a guy in Colorado. His name was Mike Hamilton. They were called Scorpion longbows, and they were kind of hill style but made of action wood. So in my opinion, the only thing and the best thing in bow limb material is bamboo, especially heated bamboo. In the core, it's the same hill set because he used both of the outer core of the hardest part of the bamboo, and he dried it and heated it and experimented with it like the fly rod guys did, but
Yeah.
because the fry rod technology was kind of same, they had the same problems. And
Is that caramelized bamboo? Is that what we call
yes,
caramelized? Yeah.
yes. Uh, yes, and so it's light and it's uh, the fibers go through. At the nudes, they are even stronger, and so on. So it's a wonderful material, and it's physically light, so the limb will hit fast.
It's
Isn't
like
that?
nature's carbon.
Yes, yes. If you see in Asia these big building ramps, I don't know the right
Scaffolding.
term.
Yes, they make scaffolding from
Scaffolding, yes, yes.
over the Far East.
Crazy, crazy, and it's a wonderful stuff, bamboo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So I then I switched to um no, I got from an Australian a buddy of mine, a hunter, made a hunting trip to Australia to hunt wild boar. These are kind of half domestic. In Australia, everything is a problem. They put out, and so they to shoot boar and goat and very exotic animals down there. And he went over to hunt wild boar and goat. They have a trophy system for these goats and so on. And they met there with a Howard Hill guy in Australia. His name is Jeff Jellercomb. He was a retired policeman, uh, and he made hill style bows with a lot of back set, and they were, they had a square shape. The limbs had a square shape like this, very edgy, and they brought them back, and they shoot faster than any longbow I've ever seen. We with heavy hunting arrows, we shot through a speed meter, and they were about 200 feet per second.
Wow.
Other longbows had 150 feet per second. A fast one was 180 feet per second, and so 200 feet per second. Fast flight string, very dry tone, ding ding. If you touch the string, like in a piano, like this.
And was that what was that?
So
Did that thump? Was that hard on your wrist?
the hard hitting,
Yeah, thumpy. What we call thumpy.
no, we always that was another philosophy of our archery society back then. We just wanted to shoot the same equipment as you would hunt at least whitetail deer. So no man had a bow below 50-pound draw weight, and the woman started with 40 pounds.
Wow.
So today, a bodybuilding guy walks into the archery shop and says, "Is 18 pound will not hurt my shoulders. Are you sure?" And so that was no idea back then. We used the heaviest arrows we could hold on. Instead of 125 grain field points, we used 160 grain field points. 4 inch feathers, no, impossible. The, the softest guys had 5-inch feathers, so the machos had 6-inch feathers, of course, because the more difficult to hit something, the better it is. And that was the spirit back then.
What's your current setup, Peter?
Uh,
What are you doing
in
with your arrows? What's the spec on your arrows? Because I know there's loads of people on this Facebook group
you know, I,
want to hear
I
about.
have I really have different. I have gold tip, how they call it, I don't know, 35 to 55. You know, this with this veneer foil around, gold tip traditional or something called like that. And I shoot a lot with wooden arrows, with cedar arrows exclusively. I don't use any other wood than cedar in my arrows, and I'm very picky about. And I love to, sometimes to make a set. I have arrows enough, but I like to make them because I believe.
It's a very very therapeutic occupation making arrows.
Yes, and I make them very hill style, white tipped, full length, and big feathers. And oh, I get here a pack of vintage knocks. I only use this old Mercury speed knocks with the big index.
Yes,
And if you do really a little of trick shooting, you know these are the best because this is the biggest index. You always have the the thumb at the right position at the arrow nock, and the arrow nock comes down from the quiver in the right position to set it on the bowstring. And that's impossible because
that that's
that's the
Mercury.
elegance. That's the elegance hill head. You know, there was one movement, jump, and
Yes,
that only works with knocks like this. And so, oh, I have 100 red, one left, so I
yeah.
make a set. And
And the nice thing about the Mercury speed knocks, if people don't know about it, is that they are. Hang on, let me just put myself on the screen so people can see me.
yes, they fade out. They fade out to the shaft. And
Yes,
if you have the right size of them, they are a natural extension, like
yeah.
streamlined.
And there's no pinch, is there? There's no pinch
Yes,
in that they're completely parallel, so they
yes.
slip.
You can't get them wrong, uh, out of his the wrong side out of the quiver. If you train with them, you always have this big index and at the thumb, and so there is positioned perfectly. And you know the critical point in fast shooting is the knocking,
Yes,
not the drawing, not the shooting. The knocking is the very critical part if you like to shoot for speed.
yes. They're very hard to. Mercury knocks are very hard to get now. But I should say that if you are interested, if anyone's interested in Mercury knocks, then they should get in touch with Rod Harris again because
Yeah,
Rod has got
yeah, yeah.
a good
I
supply.
think I think he does a good promotion on Facebook. He's very present. He's known all around. I think he's doing well. No,
He's yeah, and a great shooter as well. I mean, he taught me an awful lot.
yes, yes,
Um,
and yes, and really passionate. He's passionate for this hill stuff. I see it, and you see, even in the craziest, sorry for these surroundings. Yes, in London area, there's a Howard Hill fan club. How crazy is this? You know, and it's the same in Germany or around the world. It's crazy, and yeah,
can I talk to you? Is it Wendy? Can I talk to you about Wendy?
yeah, of course.
And just because, again, just explain to people who Wendy is. And as far as I know, she was part of your show, wasn't she?
uh, yes, but I'm always to guys like you are because you want to learn about hill and showmanship. I talk the truth. Uh, every every engagement, whenever one paid me to get to an event, I made the perfect pictures. I said I don't have to move to any event if I don't have one movie guy with me, one photographer with me, because you never you can't take it by by luck. Yeah, come on, take my smartphone, make a picture. You can't have that risk if you invest some money. If you train for this thing, you can't drive home and have three wobbly pictures of this event.
So you're saying that when you were booked in, you one of your conditions was that you wanted to make sure that whoever was booking you had a video recording and a professional photographer to take
Yes,
images of the show
yes.
that you were performing.
And if they don't guarantee that, if you checked out during the conversation, oh, that won't work, if the aunt of the friend of the, will make some pictures, and oh yes, he made one movie from a wedding. He's a great filmer. So okay, I take my camera guy with me, and I take my photographer with me, and I paid them, and so I made good pictures. And one day, and I know you need for good pictures
Glamour.
good colors
You
and
need glamour.
glamour. Yes, yes, because what I told you first, my idea is to take archery back to the Thai guys, not to the blue colors where it's already is.
Yes.
So the guys on the basement, not on the basement, on the base of the archery pyramid, they will they will get more money from the politics and from the communities, communes and states and so on. If you raise the the glamour, the glory of archery, if in television the mayor in the little village can't say, "What archery? I never heard about archery. What what's that? What's that shit?"
So
But
what you're saying is that you would you attempted to kind of raise the profile of show archery
yes, yes,
um, by making
and
sure that the quality was high and that you were taking along this lovely lady
yeah,
with
and
you.
in doing this, accidentally, I also raised my image. Of course,
Of
if you
course.
put you in the best available environment with the best available photographers and movie guy, you must be a better archer than any other one. Of course, and
Yeah.
that's how it works. And I
Promotion.
I saw it, like how Hill did it, and I studied other famous people, and I thought, how did he get there? Okay, let's have a look on the legends, how he get there. And I found out every artist, every writer, they don't tell you that they worked hard 10 hours a day to write one line 27 years long. No, they tell you in the television show, oh, I woke up at 3 in the morning and then it flowed out of me. I wrote this book, 700 pages. It was a gift. And I want to work against this idea. And I like to tell the truth about show business. And it's no shame. It's not, nobody's to blame for it. But if you are into, the people say, okay, he's just a poser, and okay, and yes, but it's especially like that in Germany and Austria, not in the United States.
How do you what's it like shooting in Austria? Because one of my dreams, when all this lockdown crap finished,
Um,
one of my
I've,
dreams is to shoot in Austria. Where should we go?
you know, the last some years, I don't did a lot of 3D shooting. Uh, in fact, I'm a kind of lazy archer. When you're young in archery, you need to shoot every day. You need to try this arrow, and oh, let's try this, and let's shoot in the air, and do everything. And you're hungry and kind of addicted, and you just like to talk about archery, and you're an archery freak, so to say, like you if you fall in love with your new beautiful young lady. for the 3 months, for 3 years, you were just crazy and
Yeah,
everything.
that's called the honeymoon period. So
Yes,
you're having
yes,
the archery
yes, yes.
honeymoon.
Behind me, and so I think about archery. I write a book, a novel with archery background, and so on. But then I have an idea. I make new arrows. Okay, then I shoot 3 days these new arrows, and okay, can you hit this? Can you hit that? Okay, you can. You still can hit it. So I'm a kind of lazy archer.
Okay. So does that mean that you're not in touch with the kind of the parkour courses, or I know
I am. I know
lots of
all
breakdowns
the
happen.
folks because yes, I know all the folks, and I think Austria, if I know well, had the highest how you say density of 3D parkours. So compared to Germany, they have no parkours, and Austria is stuffed full. Every third village is on wild boar parkour and hill climber parkour and everything. And so they are wonderful ones. I have wonderful friends in Tyrol. It's a state of Austria, a mountain state where the best skiing. Tyrol,
Yes, yeah, Tyrol. Yeah,
like where Ischgl is in this area,
yeah.
and they
They
have
speak Italian, don't they, as well in Tyrol? They speak Italian and German. Is that right?
in the so-called North Italy. Be- This area belonged, I think, uh, I think till after the Second World War to Austria. They saw themselves as Tyroleans, not as Austrians, not as Italians,
Yes.
and there was, every side of it tells a different story. Of course, the German-speaking Tyrols who were Tyrol patriots who were enclosed there now in Italy in this area, they said, no, we want to be with Austria, and they are suppressing us, and we don't. It's prohibited to talk Tyrolean language, slang,
Yeah.
and the Tyrolean eagle, the banner, the crest of Tyrol
Yes.
was forbidden in this area. They couldn't have a table with the Tyrolean eagle on. It was like terrorist stuff
Yeah.
and crazy thing from both sides, of course. So
So,
the Austrian Tyroleans, they blew up, telephone poles and tried to stop, I don't know, railways like terrorists.
all right. So they were a bit like the kind of the Catalonians or the Basque
Yes. Or
region
the
in
Irish, but
Jordan.
in Irish in miniature,
Yes.
like
So are you saying that there are lots of parkours? What I need to do is I need to explain some of the sort of the German terminology to because we've got quite a few members of the group now that are from the US and also the Far East as well. So the German the German expression for archery is Bogen, right?
Bogen, yeah.
So
There,
Bogen sport is archery,
yes, yes,
and
yes.
parkour
Is
is
in most cases nowadays, because back then there were also the field target parcours, with the paper animal,
yes,
targets. Uh, Nowadays, it's always a 3D parcours, a 3D range, like a tournament is
yes. Well, it's
placed like at the tournament. In the best cases, it's a round course stuffed with targets and numbers and so.
fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
it's definitely something that I'm going to do this year, not next year, this year. I'm going to do it, um, and
Uh,
it's very
this this
likely to be Austria.
these friends of mine in Tyrol, they have two in the village. There are, I think, six parcours in one village, different parcours, and which are of my friends, they have at least two separate parcours you can, and every parcours is like 6 hours or so because it's a steep terrain with bridges and special shots, and so very beautiful.
And I like the way that they have like a trash can buried in the ground with ice, and you take the lid off and
Yes,
there's some beer in there.
yes, 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 yes.
I love the idea of
Or you walk. You are the only group at the course, at the parcours, and you hear something, and the quad comes by with a guy with a big box of beer and stops and, hey, we're bringing you beer. It's wonderful.
it doesn't just sound like a honeymoon. That sounds like heaven.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Um, did you say that you had written a book?
Yes, in 2009. So it started this way. I always, since I was a little boy, I wanted to become a writer. That was my famous idea of career. I thought like Hemingway or these adventure writers. They sailing on ships, and then they'd come home and write at the terrace a new book and having beautiful women and so. So as a little boy, I thought, oh, that's cool. Driving with a yacht and fishing and writing about fishing. And, oh, that sounds like a great job, but it wasn't that easy. And but I always had a heart for writing. So when I came in contact with archery, I started to study about that forefathers, Sexton Pope and Howard Hill and Fred Bear and Ben Pearson and Ishii and all that guys, all that Arthur Young, and all that. I said it's like the old Greek gods looking down. That one invented that. That one did this, and all great guys. And so I love to read about them. I collected a lot of antique books,
Yes.
and now I have a lot of books which are very rare in the US where they came from, but I have them because I early started collecting them. Whenever I saw an older book, and so I bought it. So I had a lot of knowledge about this, and I started to write articles about one guy, a short biography about Howard Hill, so, as short as possible, 4 pages. So you have to to take a bigger picture about the features. You couldn't tell any adventures or so. So you could narrate about the guy, how he was or so. Okay, so I started doing this for an Austrian an Austrian archery magazine, and yes, every month or so I wrote one of the stories, and then the idea came, put them together, and you have 24 chapters of 24 famous archery guys, and let's make a book.
So
So I wrote some additionally to the existing stories. I need some more, and I had to secure the copyrights of the pictures if they were not old enough, and so on. It was not so easy. Yes, and he published it, and yes, that was the first book.
do you have a copy of that?
Uh, it's still available, even in English language, but
Yeah.
I also can send this copy to you, because if so, I order it and sign it and send it to you. It's no problem. Um,
What
yes,
about
and
have,
1 year after, I got an American publisher interested into the book, and so it was also published in the US. And I added some chapters, I don't know, 5 or so, on Austrian archery. So there were famous Austrian archers depicted and told about their stuff and their life, and a section of Austrian bow hunters, because in Austria bow hunting is not like in the USA. It was kind of crazy men's. When you told someone in the restaurant, your Bohan, thought you must be a Stone Age
Psychopath.
idiot, moron, or and so on. Yes, and of course, I always wanted to write to get money out of the writing too. I like to write, but just to write for me, I don't know. It's not a writing therapy for me. If I write something, I want to make money out of it because I invest time, and that was the goal, to make things you like. And okay, so
Do you have a novel? Have you written
yes,
a fiction
and
book?
yeah, then I found out. I thought, okay, the target group of archers is very narrow. Of archers, uh, every archer,
Yes.
from the Stone Age to the compound laser guy. So it's a small segment of society.
Yeah, you're talking
So
about saying the market is not
okay,
very big.
and I don't know. I thought, I don't know, 50% not. I think, and maybe 20% of this target group are only reading books, and most of them are reading how to shoot a bow and how to stitch a quiver and how to dress medieval and how to be like an Indian and how not to shave your face and things like that. And so I thought, no, I need another segment. I need another genre. I need to write a crime novel, a thriller, something like this, like a book everybody can read. That
And this is called what?
it's called Bowman, and translated it's Bloody Horn, because the background is the worldwide poaching of rhinoceros, you know, elephants because of their tuskers, tigers in India, in China. All this poaching is based on superstition,
Yeah.
because this stuff, this rhino horn and this tiger claws and this, bear stuff, ugly thing stuff, uh, it's all based in traditional Chinese medicine. And they're mixing crazy things together, dog's ears and like a witch doctor would
Right.
do.
Yes.
And it's witch doctoring. And so I said, in fact, this is the market for this stuff. And because of they are so crazy with their medicine, in Kenya, some poacher kills a rhinoceros in a park, and the market is there. And I don't know how it is in England. In Austria, every week there's at least one picture of a poached rhino or a slain tiger or something, which are only killed because of this crazy superstitious medicine quackery, in
Yes.
fact.
Yes.
And the WHO uh, endorses traditional Chinese medicine. And so I thought, I don't want to talk on about this, but I thought, that's crazy. That's
Yeah.
everything is crazy. The same people who are spending money for the dying rhinos are, are the same. They're killing them because the good green guy says, "Oh no, I just use traditional Chinese medicine powder. It's made of," and I
Yeah.
thought,
Tigers
that's
kingdom.
crazy. That's crazy. And so this
Are you saying that without giving too much away of the story of the book? Are you saying that this is the setting that the story takes place, and
this
I'm hoping that your main character is the good guy?
Yes, of course. And the most difficult thing was because on economic ideas, I was sure it don't you can't write one book and sit down and say, where's the yacht? That's not possible. Where's the ship? No, you have to write one book after another, and you have to be a busy guy. I'm not, but busy enough to make one book a year. Best would be three a year. If you just think about Amazon and all the promotion stuff's going on every in true time and so on. So the biggest problem with an archery figure, an archer, a character, an archery character, was to put an archer in a kind of crime setting, which 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 you can work out as a serial, because there can be one homicide in the neighborhood, and because the policeman don't know a lot about archery, he knocks at the archer's door and says, "Hey man, help me to solve this crime mystery." Because you're an archer and the victim is hit by an arrow, so you know more about it than me, the policeman. That was the only story I could imagine. And you can just do it one time. You can't make a serial with the archer always being called to police to help identify arrow victims, because that just don't happens, even not in Amazonia, or never, no, nowhere at Earth, on Earth. So the idea was, okay, I have to put this archery into his special power, like a superpower, like a kind of superhero. The bowman also implies like Batman, bowman, Superman. Everyone is a bowman, but bowman still sounds like a superhero.
Yeah.
And my idea was like this, I know, like a pulp fiction of bowmen fighting against poachers worldwide, like mafia, like structures with big, puppeteers and so on. And I like to write this, but I couldn't create a character like Green Arrow walking through the city at night with the bow in his hand. It's also
Yeah.
too superhero. That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
that was not an option. And so, yes, I came to the idea that this is his profession, and a kind like me, he likes martial arts and so on. And you only can seriously and honestly write about things you know.
Exactly. What's the name of this our hero? What's his name?
His name is Thomas Dorn.
Doran. Oh,
Yes, which means thorn in English, like the thorn.
got you.
And
Is this been published yet, or is it?
yes, the first one is published. I published it on Amazon, which I have to say it's a wonderful thing, because a lot of people talking bad about Amazon, which of course they are bad dark spots, I'm sure, but they forget Amazon is connected also uh, out of a lot of little shop owners and little writers. There he writes one book, and this his market. So whenever you say, "Oh, Amazon this and that," okay, but I don't know if you make a campaign on Facebook, say Amazon is bad, avoid it, don't buy at Amazon. Okay, you're sawing on me, because my book is on Amazon. So you have to see this all at a wider angle. It's not so simple.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, isn't it? The concept of a level playing field for publishing.
Yeah,
In the same
yeah,
way
yeah,
that, like
yeah,
you say, you could be a big corporation selling your products on.
yeah.
I don't know. Say you make.
And maybe I don't know. It's interesting, but I'm with the bows. I like to reduce to the most plain level, th- just what is necessary. I can tell you. Uh, Also there, to keep it simple, the playing field is never level. You You have always to have to go in your direction. You can't lay back and and I remember the days when everyone could say, "Oh, if I would write a book and it would be a bestseller." So today you can say, just do it.
Yeah, absolutely
It
right.
costs nothing. Do
No,
it.
yeah. And
And
everyone has a book in their head, don't they? I mean, this is a like a cliche.
a good story, yes. And my
Everyone,
life is so important. I have to tell how I had cancer and how my hemorrhage, my I don't know. It's a kind of self therapy, and they think it's thought to publish it. But if you write just for yourself, I like to entertain my reader. I like to give him a good story, and I don't know. I
Peter, I just want. I'm kind of what I'm doing now. I'm watching the timing that we've got, and we've got to keep
yeah
these podcasts,
yeah.
around about an hour. And I don't, and I wanted to kind of just ask you: Are you're still doing your shows, right?
At the moment, everything is locked down.
Of course. Sorry. Yeah.
In April 2020, I had an engagement in Rome, in Italy, for a television show, doing with a free climbing athlete guy who holds the world record in one hand,
Yeah.
push-ups, pull-ups,
Yeah.
you know, a horrible guy, a kind of Guinness Book record. And the idea was they put on stage a 15-meter high wooden wall, and I would stand on a kind of lift, and I has to shoot arrows as fast as I can in this wall during 60 seconds. I don't know, I don't remember exactly. And then the free climber will climb up on my arrows.
Wow.
And that was, not cancelled, but okay
Yeah.
at
Then
the moment.
COVID
Yes, yes,
happened.
yes. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
this would have been a nice show.
Yeah.
And to go back to Wendy, when they called me to fly to Korea to this big archery festival, maybe you have seen the clip in my YouTube.
Yeah.
Uh, I needed at least one person who is able to make photographs. So Wendy is a professional model, so she knows a lot about photographing also in of her on her own
Yeah.
because she was in front of the camera. She knows something about it, and she is very beautiful. And I had the problem. Austrian. I should be the guy for Austrian representing Austrian archery, but there is now in Austria is no archery tradition, and I see me in the hill tradition, so in the showman tradition, so to say. Started with Odysseus and Robin Hood came and then Howard Hill and so on, and Byron Ferguson, and so that's my kind of idea, my fantasy idea, and so I had nothing Austrian traditional on me. When we were offset, I took on, such a Trachten jacket, a typical Austrian,
Yes.
like uniform
Yes.
jacket to be Austrian.
Yes.
And I had two different with me, and there's okay. So, and I had the idea, okay, and Wendy can wear everything, a really traditional, typical Austrian dress, like what he did every day. She had another Dirndl, is the
Yes.
Austrian word for this kind of cloth,
Yes.
and she was in focus of everybody. Of course, this blonde hair, they came to, oh, let me touch your hair. There were people they have never seen blonde hair before, I guess. I
Yeah.
don't know. So I was always in focus. In fact, Wendy was in focus, but I was with her.
Very clever. That's very
Yes,
clever. So
yes,
So what we have, we've got a situation these days. So last year was a write-off, really. The pandemic has kind of took
yeah,
away competitions. It took away socializing. It took away hospitality and shows, and it's and I think there's an awful lot of archers and people who are into archery out there right now, just looking into this year, thinking, I can't wait. I can't wait to get
Yes,
out
and
there.
and and I see your garden. I also have a garden, so we are very lucky guys.
Yes,
But imagine you be in the center, where somewhere in the city,
yes,
and you can't go out, and there are three children, and the mom is making home office. I, I'm very depressive about this all, and not because of the craziness, really. I know we shouldn't talk about this on YouTube, but it's crazy.
yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I mean, we have to be careful not to let our
But
arch bleed off into.
our politicians in Austria and in Germany uh, definitely compares this to World War II.
Wow, wow.
Life in television. It's the worst crisis since World War II, since 1945
Hmm.
or 33 or like that. It's it's crazy.
It is, and I sense where you're coming from on this, and I think I kind of know what your thoughts are, and I feel the same way. So, but let's keep it out of the archery world,
Yeah,
and then just kind of, I just wanted to really just say thank you for talking with us today. Thank you for your
I
time. Thank you.
I thank you for having me, and if you're interested, we every time we could pick up kind of a theme. We can say, let's talk about Hillstyle Quiver or Hillstyle Arrows, or what are the advantages or so. If you like to make more podcasts, I'm very open to do this.
Well, that sounds like a really good idea because that's definitely where my enthusiasms lie, and I think that. It would be nice. I'm going definitely coming to Austria, and I'm probably going to be with a friend or two. We're going to
That's
come
really,
to shoot, and it would be great to look you up and
of course,
maybe interview you face to face, and maybe
of
get
course.
some tips and some lessons from you.
Yeah,
Um, and and I think for this particular Facebook group, I think it's going to be interesting for people to see the man Peter O. Stecker, and and have a
I
chance
like.
to listen to you and talk to
Uh,
you.
I like talking to you, and I appreciate you invited me. And so I hope you don't stay locked for a long time.
Oh yeah, and it's got to come to an end soon. It's got to come to an
I
end.
think so. I
Oh
think so.
yeah, but yeah, when it does,
And I think one of the good things is you can't do this twice.
no,
I think that that's only working one time, like now.
yes, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think from that perspective, it's a very interesting time of our lives. I think
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
hopefully it will never happen like this again. It can't, and but the great thing about it is that everybody I know that's into archery is they just can't wait to get back out there, and when they do, it's going to be great fun. The competitions are going to be starting again. It's going to be a great spirit, and people are going to get to travel again and see their friends and
yeah,
experience
yeah,
archery
yeah,
in other countries.
yeah.
So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And again, thank you so much, Peter. And it was a joy to talk to you. And we'll
The
see you.
pleasure was on my side.
No, and we'll definitely do we'll do those kind of breakdowns of equipment and talk to you about how you feel and how you. Okay.
Okay, then goodbye, Ian. It was a nice talk.
Thank you, Peter, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, see you soon.
Okay.
Thank you for watching the fourth episode of the Bows and Arrows video podcast. Today we've been talking to Peter O. Stecher from Austria and myself, Ian Nuttall. Please make sure that you leave any comments or suggestions of anyone that you'd like to see on the next edition of Bows and Arrows. The Bows and Arrows podcast has been made exclusively for the Traditional Archery Fellowship Facebook page. So make sure you share with your friends or invite anybody you think might enjoy what we do. See you soon.